Great question, Haley. Thanks for using the system. We'll see how this works out. I changed the problem a little bit so that you can try your problem and see if you can figure it out. But I thought I'd draw you a little model of this. So the most important thing to understand about problems like this is that there's two amounts here. There's the 2n squared plus 8n minus 7 amount, and over here is an n squared minus 4n minus 3 amount. And they're different amounts, and well, what are they? What is their amount? It depends on what n is. If n is 10, then this is 10 squared, that's 100, times 2, 200, plus 80, 280 minus 7, 273. Plus, what is this? This is going to be 10 squared, 100, minus 40, 60, minus 3. Excuse me, I had a yawn. I think we were at 60, minus 3 is 50, 57. So 273 plus 57. Okay, but that's only if n is 10. N could be anything. What if it's 2? 2 squared, 4 times 2, we're up to 8, plus 16 more, that's 24, minus 7, 17. Plus, n is 2 still, 2 squared is 4, minus 8, negative 4, negative 7. So 17 plus negative 7. So the thing we're going to deal with that is we're not going to worry about what n is at all. We're just going to leave n. N can still be n, and we'll just add up all this amount as variable amounts. We'll see how much variable amount we have. And we'll be stuck, in the end, we'll be stuck with an n squared variable amount, a regular n variable amount, and a constant amount that's a regular number. The operation in the middle is very important. In this case, we're adding them all up, or adding them together. Like this 8n and the negative 4n, they will add up to be 4n, because it's like 8 minus 4. 8n minus 4n. If the sign in here was a subtraction sign, then you would flip the signs on all of these, because instead of adding another n squared, you're going to be subtracting, so it would be minus n squared. Instead of adding a negative 4n, you'd be taking away a negative 4, and taking away negatives is adding, so you flip that to plus. You flip that to plus. That's if that was a subtraction, but it's a plus. So another thing that we can do is look at a model. We can look at an area model. This is my favorite part. So here's an n squared. How do I know it's n squared? Because it's n by n. Those are ghost n's. I could write them, but I don't want to get confused. It's really an n squared. It's the area here that I care about. N squared amount of space. There's two of them, actually. Here's another n squared amount of space. N squared. See, 2n squared. There's one, there's one. I got two of these squares going on. And then I have 8n amounts. So I can draw them like this. They're n tall, see, just as tall as the square, but they're not as wide as the square. The square is also n wide, but these little guys are just 1 wide. So n tall and 1 wide. N times 1 is 1, so this is an n. N amount of space, n amount of space. There's 3, there's 4. I'm halfway there. I'll draw the rest down here. 5, 6, 7, 8 n's. N strips, I call them. They're n big. Not n squared big, just n big. And then I have these minus 7s. They're kind of annoying. They're negative, so I just have to fill them in to show that they are opposite amounts. That's fine. So there's all of the area represented by this. All this variable area. What about the second quantity? Well, we do have an n squared, but just one of them. We have a negative 4 strips of n. So I'm going to make n areas again, but they're going to be opposited in, because they're opposite of n amounts. And they will basically cancel with 4 of these, 4 of the 8. Or you could think of them, they add to 0. So I have 4 n amounts here, and opposite of 4 n amounts here, and they come together to make 0. They're going to go away. These are going to be left over, these 4 down here, of the 8. Okay? And then, ooh, negative 3. There you are. And now we can just add them up. You hear this phrase, combine like terms. We just look for things that are alike. Here's things that are alike, n squared, and another one. So a total of 3n squared. How about the n strips? Well, we discussed that one already. There's 8 positive ones, but the 4 negative ones cancel. Some of them they add, so there's only 4 left. And lastly, we have these Look at this. We can group these up. Those are alike. -7, -3 more, -10. That's our answer. Now you don't have to draw the picture. You can do it term by term. 2n squared and a plus n squared, 3n squared. 8n plus -4n is 8 minus 4 is 4. And -7 plus -3, -10. All right, I hope that answers your question. Thanks for asking it, Haley.